The story of the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heist is not merely a tale of a robbery, it is a saga of institutional heartbreak, a clash of high culture and low-life criminality, and a mystery that has baffled the FBI for over 3 decades. To understand why this event remains the most significant art theft in human history, one must first understand the woman behind the museum. Isabella Stewart Gardner, a flamboyant and fiercely independent socialite in the late 19th century, built a Venetian-style palace in the middle of Boston. She filled it with masterpieces from Titian, Rembrandt, and Vermeer, arranging them with a precise, poetic vision. When she died, her will contained a draconian clause: the collection must never be changed. If a single painting was moved or added, the entire estate was to be sold, and the proceeds given to Harvard University. This frozen-in-time mandate is what makes the events of March 18, 1990, so particularly tragic. The night began under the cover of the city's most chaotic holiday, St. Patrick's Day. In 1990, Boston was a city of grit and celebration, and by the early hours of Sunday morning, the streets were littered with the remnants of parades and parties. Inside the museum, the atmosphere was a stark contrast to the rowdy bars of Southie. The air was still, smelling of old wood and damp stone. On duty were 2 young security guards, Rickabath and Randy Heston. They were not professional security experts, they were essentially night watchmen in their early 20s, more interested in the quiet environment than in tactical defense. Around 1:24 a.m., a red hatchback pulled up to the side entrance on Palace Road. 2 men dressed as Boston police officers approached the door and pressed the buzzer. They claimed to be investigating a disturbance in the courtyard. In a move that violated every security protocol of the museum, Rickabath buzzed them into the building. Once inside, the officers claimed there was a warrant for Abath's arrest. They told him to come out from behind the desk. As soon as he did, they forced him against the wall, handcuffed him, and wrapped duct tape around his eyes and mouth. Randy Heston was soon met with the same fate. The thieves took them to the basement, chaining them to a steam pipe. Before the thieves went back upstairs, one of them looked at the guards and told them not to worry, that they would be receiving a reward in a year. For the next 81 minutes, the thieves had total control over one of the world's most valuable private art collections. Unlike the sophisticated, high-tech thieves portrayed in Hollywood movies, these men were brutal and clumsy. They didn't use lasers or glass cutters, they used knives and brute force. In the Dutch Room, home to the collection's greatest treasures, they smashed the glass of Rembrandt's only known seascape, The Storm on the Sea of Galilee. They couldn't get the heavy frame off the wall easily, so they simply cut the canvas out of its mounting, leaving jagged edges of paint behind. They treated Rembrandt's A Lady and Gentleman in Black with the same violence. Perhaps the most mysterious part of the theft was the selection. They took Johannes Vermeer's The Concert, one of only 34 known works by the Dutch master, which today is considered the most valuable stolen object in the world, worth over $250 million on its own. They also took a small, self-portrait etching by Rembrandt, a landscape by Govert Flinck, and 5 sketches by Edgar Degas. Oddly, they walked past masterpieces by Titian and Raphael that were worth far more than the Degas sketches. They even tried to steal a bronze Napoleonic eagle from the top of a silk flag but gave up when they couldn't unscrew it. Before they left, they made a final stop at the security desk to remove the CCTV tapes, ensuring the FBI would have no visual record of their faces or movements. When the morning shift arrived, they found the museum in a state of ruin. The frames lay empty on the floor, surrounded by shattered glass. The investigation that followed was one of the most complex in FBI history. Leads pointed in every direction: the Boston Mafia, the IRA in Ireland, and even local petty criminals. One of the strongest theories involved Bobby Donati, a mob associate who was murdered shortly after the heist. Another suspect was David Turner, a career criminal who fit the physical description of one of the thieves. Despite the FBI's announcement in 2013 that they had identified the thieves, who were by then deceased, not a single piece of the art has ever been recovered. Today, the Gardner Museum remains a site of mourning. Because of Isabella's will, the museum cannot replace the stolen works. Instead, they have left the empty gold frames hanging in their original spots. They serve as a haunting reminder of what was lost. The museum continues to offer a $10 million reward for the return of the art, no questions asked. Somewhere, perhaps in a dusty attic in Dorchester or a secret vault in Europe, the storm on the Sea of Galilee is still waiting to be found, while the empty frames in Boston wait to be filled once again.